Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to process some of our American Bresse roosters. We've ended up with 5 hens and 8 roosters, which obviously is a bit of an imbalance, and they are getting to an age where the roosters are, the hormones are starting to kick in, so they are starting to fight amongst themselves and they're starting to give the hens a hard time, and so we really need to thin the roosters down. I do want to keep more than one. I'm thinking I want to keep either 2 or 3, and part of that's probably going to depend on how the processing is going. But my plan is to weigh them, and I would like to actually keep the largest for genetic reasons, since I want to keep them as a breeding flock to hatch out more in the future for butchering. So want to keep the bigger genetics if I can, so my plan is to weigh them and keep the what appear to be the best and butcher the other ones. So we are going to go ahead and get started on that in a minute, and I wanted to show you real quick what our processing setup looks like. So I actually don't have a folding table or anything like that, so I'm using the swing set frame. I laid a couple planks across this part of it and have covering there obviously to keep clean, and then on this end I've got strings hung. I also don't have a cone or even a makeshift cone, so the next best thing is to hang them like that for the bleeding out. I've got that on the ground since we are right in the yard here, and I want to keep the mess contained as much as possible, so I can get rid of that. So once they are done here, then I will bring them over here. I've got our outdoor propane cooker with my bigger stock pot on it and a thermometer, so I can make sure the temperature is about right. We're looking for between 130 and 170 Fahrenheit, and it's about 160 right now, so it's just perfect. And then once they're scalded, I've got this plucker. It's actually on loan from my parents. We used it once last fall. My mom and I raised a group of Cornish cross meat birds, and we used it when we processed those, and it was a big help. You still have to do some pin feathers and stuff by hand, but it does save a lot of time, so that's definitely going to help out a lot today. And then once they're plucked, I will bring them back over here to gut and everything, and then they will go into a cooler of ice water. And then once I have them all to that point, once they're all in the cooler, then I'll start bringing them back out. I'll get a clean table covering, and then I will, some of them I'm going to leave whole, but at that point the ones I want to break down, I'll do that, break them into individual components. I've got a bowl of warm water if I need to rinse my hands or my knives or anything, and I've got a bowl of cool water to put organs in, and I've got a bucket for the viscera. So I think we're all set. We're going to go ahead and get started and see how it goes. Okay, so I only ended up doing 4. I did want to do 5, but, you know, like everything else in my life, it just was taking more time than expected, so I just did the 4, and that's alright. I left 2 whole. I'm going to do, you know, just leave them like that for roasters. And then I can't think of the correct term right now. I want to say parted out. 2 of them. So in this bowl I've got, you know, drums, thighs, breasts, tenderloins, wings, and also the remainder of the carcass that will go into making broth. And I already took the other bowl in, but I had all the organs in there and the feet. The feet will also go in the broth, and the organs. I'd like to say I would eat them, but I probably won't. Those will probably go to the dogs. And I also saved a couple the gizzards out for the dogs. So all in all, went pretty well. I did have a little bit of trouble with the scalding, even though I had a thermometer. The first one went well as far as that, and so did the last one. But the second one, I actually had the water a little bit too hot, which can cause the skin to start coming off on the wings. So that was, and it can actually make them harder to pluck too. So that one didn't go super great in that respect. And then the third one, I didn't have the water quite hot enough, and I had to do it and then heat the water up more and do it again. And so, but the 2 that I had the correct temperature, and to clarify, both of those were still, well, the one that wasn't hot enough, it was over 130, but just barely. So I would say, you know, it needs to be a little bit, at least up into the 140, 150, I want to say. And then the other one, I did know that it was a little bit over the 170. It was probably like 180, but I added some of that cold water from the jug, and I thought that would be enough, and apparently it was not. So anyway, lessons learned. That's an important thing to pay attention to when you're doing it. But the plucker definitely helped out a lot, saved me some time there. And other than that, went pretty well. I didn't break any of the little bile sacs, so that's good. I did break the intestine on one of them, but you know, that's just gotta wash it out good is all. We try to avoid that, but it happens sometimes. Only got spurred once. So anyway, all I have to do still is I've got to take the chicken inside and get it packaged up and in the fridge or freezer. We are going to eat some of it in the near future, so I can kind of give a review and see if all of this has been worth it. I hope it has. I will probably roast one before too long, and I also want to eat some of the pieces, probably fried, or the breast in a recipe, something like that. So we'll see. I do want to try it a couple different ways and see how we like it, and then I will report back. So that might not be the next video, but probably within the next few. And then I gotta clean up my mess, of course. So anyway, I'm going to go get started on that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Hope maybe you learned something or enjoyed watching me struggle. So anyway, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.